document. You can put that you disagreed with me, but I did do that.
I agree with you. You did say that.
Yeah. So you can add something that you came back and said.
But I also agree that we can change our minds and say, no, we feel it's urgent that we do this now, and that's what we did.
But nobody told me about that. But
We did it right there that day.
There?
After listening to all that, we did it that day afterward. We changed our mind and said, no, let's go on and do something. That's when we decided.
That's not the way a board works, Race. We agreed not to even talk about this until after March 11th.
So when we make a decision, we can't change our minds ever?
Without telling the rest of the board.
No, we did it. We were right here when we voted on it. You've got it in the minutes here. We voted on it. Because the vote didn't go your way, that's tough.
That is not the point.
That is the point.
Not the point.
The board voted on it.
You guys went back on what you said you were going to do.
We changed our mind. Yes, ma'am. We did change our mind. I'll agree with that. We changed our mind. And we voted to have the lawyer write something up and do something.
So remember Monday the 23rd.
I might change it again.
We found out about the Lavernia thing, and then that following Thursday we met. I think that's why they changed their mind so quickly.
I didn't. I'm sorry. Tell me again.
January 23rd, we found out that Lavernia was on probated suspension. That Thursday is when we voted to the MOU after Mayor Gregory spoke. Maybe that's why they voted so quickly.
Well, I mean, they shouldn't have even been negotiating and putting numbers out there according to what we agreed in January 5th. And we did not, as a board, agree to move forward before March 11th until I got an agenda saying, oh yeah, we're doing this. And then I was put in the position of defending myself in front of a whole crowd of people and Connolly instead of this board doing what a board should do and agree before we move forward. That's all I'm saying, and I'm not going to get angry anymore. I am not this person.
Let me read this one more time. The vote was 3-1 in favor of signing the MOU. It was done before the board, before the public. It's all done legally. No one went behind your back. You were sitting right here with us. If you didn't understand it, because every time we say something, you say, I don't understand. Every time. Well, I'm telling you, when you say that tends to wonder how everybody else understands it, but you don't understand it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just talking about the line right here where it says the vote was 3-1 in favor of signing the MOU. We changed our minds. Things had changed.
Okay, now stop just for a minute and think about a timeline. Okay, January 5th, we had a workshop and we said blah, 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 right? Okay, February 2nd, after I had that in my mind, or January whatever, I got an agenda saying, oh yeah, here's an MOU we negotiated. I'm sorry, somebody came up with, nobody negotiated. And so at that point I knew that something had happened that you guys hadn't told me about, okay, period. We didn't vote that was going to move forward. That's the timeline. And then you guys voted on something that you said you wouldn't do in January 5th meeting. That's the way I'm seeing it. That go along with your little agenda is what it all amounts to. Oh.
I saw it for the first time. I saw it for the first time that day. Yes, I changed my mind. Things have changed since then. If you don't think that a board can't change its mind,
with the cooperation of the other board members, not unilaterally.
But
we're a board.
We don't have to do anything unanimously. We have to have a quorum, and it has to be the majority.
Let me tell you.
You voted on it. Yeah, they asked you. Here, you vote on it. That one, that's you. You lost.
We are on totally different planes. I agree. I can't.
Well, yeah, I agree. You're a totally different plane. I agree that you're kind of a symptom of what's going on in America right now.
That member, whatever you call it.
I hope that's on video. I honestly hope that's.
Well, I hope it is too, man, because
that letter went out to us before the meeting. I don't remember if it was an email. I'm pretty sure it was an email. Not us before the meeting.
The day we got the agenda, yes.
It went out to us before the meeting. I remember printing it out and marking some stuff up that I didn't agree with. There was 2 or 3 things in that thing that I didn't agree with.
I did too. Did anybody change yours?
And we voted on that. We discussed it in our meeting. We voted on it. Now, there's a major problem on the board. We're not getting our minutes in a timely manner, so we're doing things with minutes that are 2 or 3 months without minutes. We need timely minutes. I don't remember all this. I'm old, I don't remember everything. I got snow on my roof. So, if I had the notes, I don't remember remember us agreeing to put everything off till after March 11th. We very well could have.
It's on video, I'll bring it.
Like I said, she ought to have it.
I don't know, I haven't seen your
agree.
video, I haven't seen your minutes, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And if we did, we did, but that's non-binding.
Oh, so I can't take you at your word. Thanks.
Ma'am, if you're gonna sit here and call this man a liar,
I didn't.
You just did.
I just said
You just
went
did.
against what he said.
If we go against you, we're liars, we can't do this.
No.
You voted on the thing, right here, 3-1, you
Stop it.
voted on it.
I
We
wanna ask
changed
Roger
our
one
mind.
thing. Roger,
And I will admit, we
apologize if
changed
I
our mind
apologize
from
for
that
what I
time
said
to
But I
that.
have a question.
You constantly
wrote
interrupt
something-
anyone who's speaking. I'm fed up with it. I called you down on this once. When somebody has the floor, Robert's Rules of Orders, he has to give it up.
You
Now,
listen
when,
to it.
now, the man is not a liar. He said
I
he
did not,
didn't.
and I apologize,
He did not.
Roger.
He
I
didn't say he did not
I
regulate
mean to
it.
say
And
that.
I said, I agree with you. I
apologize.
know you do. And I'm sure you've gone upset. I said it was fair. There should be no question here. It was on there, but there should be no question that a person is allowed to change their mind. Circumstances change. You may not change your mind, but if you change your mind, it needs to be brought before the board and voted on, and it was.
It was not to negotiate that MOU, and we're never gonna agree on that. But Roger, you said you marked some things on the MOU, and were they changed? Were some of the things you marked changed? I marked things on the MOU too, and nothing was changed that I asked for, including we not have to pay the legal fees. They're just a symptom, and I'm just saying a symptom of a big issue with this board that we all know about.
I agree with the legal
And I've
fees.
talked with, I know somebody's called a county official about me, because I called that same official to ask what we need to do, because I love being on this board. I have. We've gotten along fine until I want to spend money on legal fees. We've gotten along fine until this whole thing, all the issues we're having right now, I think, have to do with Connolly please don't stop me on this, Connolly wanting to get their foot in the door now and make it look like they can do what they have to do. I take that back. I don't even want to go there, and I won't go there. I left that January 5th meeting thinking that we just talked about a few numbers, we never agreed to anything, and that things were going to be fine till after March 11th, and this board was going to take the high road and wait until after then and do anything. I got on an agenda for February 2nd with things that we had specifically agreed not to do. And with terms like we're going to pay the legal fees. I don't know how many ambulance payments we have to miss for that. Roger said we have to miss some ambulance payment to pay for my attorney fees.
No,
How many
I
do we?
didn't say that.
That's what you said in the meeting.
Let
I'm
her
sorry.
finish, Roger, and then we'll own
Well, I don't actually would like to hear Roger. I'm sorry, did I misunderstand what you said in that meeting with Ken?
I said, yeah, that was a closed meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry, I take that back. But anyway, Roger's concerned about, I forgot that was during the closed part, I didn't think it was really confidential, but that he had to miss an ambulance payment. I apologize, I didn't even think about that being during closed meeting. But, totally lost it. But if you guys had done what we said we were gonna do January 5th and not surprise me and everyone with an MOU that attached to a letter, an agenda that I had to vote on in just a few days, that my comments were absolutely ignored that I sent to Ken. Roger got his comments in. Everything was done without my knowledge and without my input. My knowledge came when I got that MOU draft, or that MOU attached to the agenda that was sent to me, and then something else saying David needed to fill in the numbers. I had no idea of what was going on. My only defense was to try to sit in front of the whole board and Connolly to try to make my point, but you guys already had made your minds up. Too many things were happening without everyone being involved that need to be involved. I may be wrong. We need to get somebody to look at this board and figure that out for us. I found out it's not the county, but somebody needs to work with us. I'm not leaving. I respect, I'm not leaving. And I believe that we can work together as a board as we used to be. And once this Connolly thing's over, whichever way it goes, I'm with it 100%. I don't know if you guys will be or not, but I am. So I'm going to stop. I really came with written notes that I really wanted to stick to, because I go off on tangents. I'm sure you guys have noticed, because I get very passionate about this. So I'll read those at the right time, and until then, I'm going to do my best to quit talking. So, okay. So
Are you through?
yes.
Okay. First off, this board has nothing but, I know I personally, I'm sure Roger, Ray, nothing but ESD 3 in mind. What Conley does is their business. What your little group does is y'all's business. We don't, all we did with this referendum, MOU, is saying that we support it. And we really didn't even say we support it. We just said we would work with you. I asked, I don't know if it's in the meeting, well, all right, I don't know. If your group came up with something, we would probably support that if it was good, if they had something. All we're saying, we didn't say we're for it, we didn't say we were against it, we just said we'd work with you. Just like we work with any other service in this county. We'll work with a hospital. You know, it's not Lavernia, Stockdale, Eagle Creek, Floresville. This is Wilson County. It's not a very big county. Okay? There's not a lot of money in it. It's a bedroom community for San Antonio. Everybody, probably 75% of the people work in San Antonio. So, and us as a board, the only thing we got in mind is ESD 3. You've made it personal by coming in here and saying, well, you know, our group this and our group that. You're the one that's been attacking us with your group. You know, in the newspaper, you know, we advised you the very first day this all started coming about. Please do it as a personal. No, ma'am, you didn't. No, ma'am, you didn't. Not when it's sitting in the newspaper, part of ESD 3 commissioner. Not once, but twice. I read it. We can pull it up. It's black and white.
I know it is.
You know, we asked you, and you said you would.
That was not my big.
Well, I don't care who's doing it was. It was in there. Big in black letters. You know, yeah, you're right. This has to stop.
Yes.
And it needs to stop today. The only thing we got today to really deal with is what's happening in ESD 3. That's all I have to say about it. Anybody else have anything? Now, what do we need to do with these minutes to get them corrected? Roger?
Section gets dropped out of there. This nonsense about negotiating an agreement. There was no agreement negotiated, period.
No, negotiating agreeing to the terms of a legal document. So, take off negotiating and agreeing to the terms of a legal document without the knowledge of agreement.
It's not a legal document.
It is a legal document.
It's non-binding.
It's a non-binding legal document, and that needs to be put in there. Non-binding legal agreement.
I won't go on and on about this, but I've done a lot of letters of intent through my years.
Yes, ma'am, and I understand.
So I won't go on and on. I'm just saying.
We got that from the lawyer. It's a non-binding.
Okay, go ahead.
So put in non-binding.
Can you read me what it needs to say?
No, we can't. I would rather not. Just put an MOU, and that way it takes care of it. Memorandum of understanding. I don't want to add non-binding, please. But if you want to say terms of an MOU,
it's non-binding.
It's non-binding. It says it at the very top of the
yes.
letter, numerous times.
Okay. Actually, I'm in a board meeting. I'm sorry. When you called twice, I was thinking it might be an emergency, but I'm in a board meeting, and I'll call you back. Thanks, Marielle. Okay. 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 Thank you. I'll call. Thank you.
It should be non-binding.
I don't agree to non-binding, and I won't sign the agreement with non-binding on either.
It's non-binding. It's been written many times.
Why can't we just put a memorandum of agreement?
Because it's a non-binding memorandum of agreement. It's a non-binding. It states on there, non-binding. It states on the paper itself.
Charles, if you knew law, you would know that doesn't matter.
Well, I don't know law, and I ain't gonna pretend I do.
And
I'm not a doctor, yet I'm an EMT, but that doesn't make me a doctor. I know you were a clerk and
a clerk, but
you're a lawyer? Were you a lawyer?
I'm saying I'm not a lawyer.
Okay,
I work directly
then
under the vice president legal at Baker Hughes, but I'm not a
Well,
lawyer.
that's great. I've worked with many people. I've worked with lawyers too. That doesn't make me a lawyer.
So you don't agree that it's not?
There's no reason to put non-binding in there. Why do you want to put non-binding in there?
Because it states it on the paper. It states it on the paper that we signed.
Take off the last part. Take off stated objections to the negotiations and agreeing to a term. Take off that whole last part and stop after, and just put, and reminded board members, blah, 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 negotiate with CMC, period. And that will take care of Roger, and it'll take care of our argument. How about that?
Where do you want to stop at, Ginger?
Just the first 2 points. That I requested that the vote be tabled for reasons stated in the memorandum that I distributed, and this copy's attached. I reminded board members of your agreement during the January 5th workshop to wait until after March 11th to negotiate with the CMC. How about just stopping there? I don't care if the last part's in there or not.